gold is right on the surface. Everyone drops what he is doing to pan the precious metal.
Some say that roads, simple as they may seem, are one of the most dangerous inventions of man. With roads came conquest of land, people, animals, disease spread, and eventually humans reached into every last unspoiled corner of Earth. But we are driven to move and explore, to see new things, to reach new places, to expand our worlds, to connect with others far away for pleasure or profit. On this episode of Wilderness Northwest, for the first time we take you on a historical adventure to see how one man's grand idea for profit west of the Yakima River in what is now Washington State led to failure, all because of a simple road.
Yakima reluctantly agreed to a treaty, ceding 11 million acres of land to the U.S. government.
So we just got into Yakima about 15 minutes ago, and as much as I'm looking forward to camping out on the trail tomorrow night in the sub-freezing temperatures, we decided to get a little luxury tonight. So taking a pit stop at Red Lion, we got the king-size bed over there, we got the flat screen. So we're gonna get some good rest tonight and start early in the morning. So see you then. Oh, we just happened to get lucky, and last night there was a cheer tournament. So there were cheerleaders doing cartwheels and flips in the room above me all night long. So it's gonna be a slow morning waking up.
Hello everyone, this is General News.
Today we're about to start an adventure on Old Durr Road and Durr Road west of the Yakima River Canyon. This is one of the first toll roads in the state of Washington. It was built in the 1880s by a man named Jacob Durr. And he had some ambitions of making a lot of money, making a fortune off this road. But it ultimately was so treacherous and so expensive to use that the road was abandoned and replaced by a state highway that was built along the eastern side of the Yakima River. What are you rolling in?
2002 Toyota 4Runner.
Awesome.
With a little bit of rust underneath.
A little bit of rest, that's the weak point.
And food to last 4 years.
Excellent. So what are you airing down to?
I haven't aired down with this rig this loaded before, so I'm thinking maybe for a comfy ride and start off with 20 PSI.
that was fun. So we're traveling on Rosa Road right now. We took a detour off of Old Durr Road, and we're gonna try to go to Rosa Creek and make a little breakfast up there. So here we go. And this is the Eureka 2-burner stove that I use for overlanding. Works pretty good. Hopefully I didn't get water in the rear diff. The first recorded encounter of the tribes that now make up the Yakima Nation were with the Lewis and Clark expedition in 1805. Their journey and journal entries inspired a wave of settlers lured to the area by the prospect of land and prosperity. Not long after, in 1817, Scottish fur trapper Alexander Ross traveled through the Yakima Valley and encountered a band of 3,000 Native Americans. Here, many tribes would gather to hold councils, games, prepare food for the winter, and settle disputes. In 1853, the first wagon train passed through the Kittitas Valley on their way to Puget Sound. On June 9, 1855, an imposing and well-respected Yakima chief, Kamiakin, meaning he who won't go, signed a treaty with Isaac Stevens, the then governor of the Washington Territory. In this treaty, the 14 tribes that make up the Yakima Nation now surrendered nearly 17,000 square miles of land, holding on to less than 2,000 square miles of land designated as the reservation they were to live on. Though the treaty was not supposed to go into effect until 1859, within a month, Stevens began advertising in the Puget Sound Courier that the lands were open to settlement. Gold was discovered in the area, and by 1864, Chief Kamiakin stated that the area was filled with madness for the precious metal, and miners filled every corner of the valleys. Miners' encroachment in the area led to additional conflict, including the murder and rape of Yakima people. Chief Kamiakin then banded together 14 tribes in an alliance, and after much hostility, the Yakima Indian War began in October of 1855. This war lasted several years, but eventually Chief Kamiakin was defeated and severely injured. He was forced to flee and live as an exile in British Columbia and Montana. Now, once the Yakima people were on the reservation, there's a place called Fort Simcoe that was a boarding school, but more accurately should be described as a concentration camp. I don't know if any of you watch 1923 on Paramount, I guess it is, but they do a really good job of portraying how horrendous life was like at some of these boarding schools. Are you kidding me?
It's snowing right now. Yeah.
I see it. Yep, you're right. Yeah, we got a storm coming in right from the north. We're gonna have an interesting camp out tonight. We're gonna try to drive this route up to these radio towers here. Jacob Durr was a German immigrant born in 1848, and he arrived in the area by way of Indiana with his wife and family. He moved to the Kittitas County in 1877. Durr Road was not Jacob or Jake Durr's first attempt at making his fortune in the area. In fact, he came up with a plan to build a bridge across the Yakima River to spare people from fording the river. Jacob Durr's plan was to charge people a toll to cross the bridge. However, people decided that they would rather take their chances than pay a fee for crossing Durr's bridge. This led to embarrassment for Jacob Durr and financial ruin to the point that he could not even pay his workers for building the bridge. As his toll bridge was more or less a bust, Jacob Durr got another grand idea: to connect the Kittitas Valley with the freight roads in Yakima by creating Durr Road. This road would be not quite half the mileage of the main wagon route that was being used to the west. This was a treacherous, difficult, and expensive road to build, and likely why this route had been avoided previously. Long wagons with 4-horse teams carrying 2,500 or more pounds of weight would have to navigate these treacherous switchbacks with turns so steep and sharp that they were required to back on a wooden turntable, with the wagon being rotated or pivoted around so it could continue. After building this road over the course of at least 2 years, Jacob Durr's dream finally came true. On March 17, 1883, he posted an announcement in the Yakima Herald. The first wagons to cross Durr Road came from the Dalles. They were reportedly driven by men named Billy Mills and Phil Olmsted. Heavy rains fell just days before and were strong enough that they washed out a bridge along Durr Road. This inaugural journey was off to a bad start and turned Durr Road into an even more dangerous proposition. Jacob Durr really thought he had a moneymaker on his hands with this road, but As you can see, bringing wagons up and down this would be quite a feat. I'm not sure if this is the exact line that his road followed for sure, if it's moved at all over the last 100 or so years, but I feel like it follows pretty closely to what the original was. And it is just cut right into the side of this cliff here. I don't know how they made it up it. Jesus. That got fucking hammered. Take a look under there. The rear diff got pushed up about an inch in the middle, which I'm pretty surprised because they say that you should be able to jack up the whole car from that point. So, of course, if it was a pointy rock, that could have easily done that. Hey everybody, we're on top of Tannum Ridge here, and as you can see, I got the tent set up. It took quite a bit of doing in this wind out here. It's probably 30-mile-an-hour winds, about 30 degrees outside right now. You can see some snow up there, and then I'll just show you a quick view of what I do for a sleeping setup at night. I'm using the Grand Hut from REI. I've been really happy with it. It's pretty tall though, so it does catch a lot of the wind. So I had to use a bunch of guy lines on the outside here, as you can see, to keep it in place. But kind of moving in, and here we have the Kingdom Cot from REI. Very helpful on uneven terrain, but I'm telling you, this thing is like sleeping in your bed at home. So I've been super happy with it. I don't think I'll go back to an air mattress or anything like that. Once again, here's that view. Just finished dinner and we're sitting here by the fire. It's probably about somewhere 29-30 degrees or so, but this fire is blazing and it's toasty here, so can't complain. And we'll probably hang out for another hour or so and then head to bed. Here we made it. Tannum Creek. The site where the wagons would have to pay Jacob their toll. Here's a section where you might imagine the turntables would have been to get the wagons turned around 90 degrees and up around the switchback. The two men, with their wagons loaded down, found themselves descending an unimaginably steep, washed out, and muddy road late into the evening. Here they became stuck in a muddy hole, and no amount of digging could get them out. They had no choice but to unhitch their horses and descend Durr Road without their cargo. Down below they reached the canyon and creek, and they spotted none other than Jacob Durr and his men working frantically to repair the bridge that had washed out. The men helped Jacob Durr fix the bridge, and in exchange he put them up in his house. The following day, Durr and all of his men helped pull the wagons out of the hole, and Durr gave the men back the toll they had paid. Perhaps this initial journey was portending things to come for Durr's new road. According to the Yakima Herald Republic, the venture failed when people decided that his road was not worth the toll. Durr's tolls were expensive, his route was dangerous and difficult, and the time savings that it offered as a shortcut was deemed not worth it. On February 26, 1886, the Northern Pacific Railroad carried the first passenger from Yakima to Ellensburg, which further eroded the need for a toll road for people or for freight. Then, in the early 1900s, came the automobile, and Ellensburg and its surrounding valleys were forever changed with a new phase of settlement and expansion. Durr's Road became a relic of the past. But the deadly road of Jacob Durr does not end here. Jacob Durr had yet another dream of finding riches and making a fortune. How would his road end? Would he ever find the wealth that he worked so hard to create? Or would his fate be that of tragedy and mystery? On the next episode of Wilderness Northwest, we will follow the final stretch of road that Jacob Durr traveled.